It's inside me, Alien Woman said. It hurts me. Please make it quick, he said softly. It'll be over quick. The medical station Light of Dawn floated quietly in deep space. It was far from busy trade routes and far from any bright stars. Around it was only darkness, slow-moving dust, and the soft blue glow of its shield lights. Most days were calm, too calm. The humans who worked there often joked that the station was built for emergencies that would never come. Elias Ward stood by the wide window in the main hall. He liked to look into space when his thoughts felt heavy. Space always reminded him how small he was, but also how strong humans had to be just to live out here. He was a medic, not a soldier. He had joined the Deep Space Service to help, not to fight. He believed that no matter where someone came from, pain felt the same. A soft sound broke the quiet. Beep! Elias turned toward the control desk. The station's main screen lit up with a yellow light. That color meant something was wrong. Signal coming in, said Mira Chen, the station's communication officer. She leaned forward, her eyes moving fast across the screen. It's weak. Very weak. The rest of the crew slowly gathered. Captain Harris, tall and calm, stepped closer. Source? Mira shook her head. Not clear. It's old technology. Not human. Not from any known alliance, either. Elias felt his stomach tighten. Unknown signals were rare. Unknown signals in this part of space were even rarer. Put it on audio, the captain said. The room filled with static. Soft. Broken. Like a voice trying to speak through water. Then a sound came through. It was not a word, not in any human language. It was a low, shaking tone, filled with pain and fear. Elias stepped closer without thinking. That's not a machine, he said quietly. That's someone, Mira nodded. I think you're right. The captain took a deep breath. Track it. After a few long seconds, Mira pointed at the screen. There. Small ship. Drifting. No power signals. Barely holding together. Prepare the shuttle, Captain Harris said. Elias, you're coming with us. Elias grabbed his medical kit and followed. The shuttle moved slowly through the dark. Its lights cut a narrow path through the stars. The drifting ship appeared like a shadow at first. Then, slowly it took shape. It was alien in design. Long and curved, with smooth metal and faded markings along its side, it looked old, damaged. They docked carefully. When the door opened, cold air rushed in. Inside, the ship was silent. Elias moved first. His boots made soft sounds on the floor. His light scanned the walls. Strange symbols covered them, but many were scratched or burned away. Life signs? The captain asked. Mira checked her scanner. 1. Very weak. They followed the signal down a narrow hall. They found her in a small room near the back of the ship. She was sitting against the wall, holding her side. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes large and dark. Thin lines of light ran across her arms, like soft glowing veins. When she saw the humans, she tried to stand but fell back with a quiet sound of pain. Elias rushed forward. It's okay, he said softly, even though he didn't know if she could understand him. You're safe now. Fear was clear in them, but also hope. She lifted a shaking hand and pointed to her side. It's inside me, she said in broken, slow words. Her voice was weak but clear enough. "It hurts me." Elias froze. Captain Harris stepped closer. "Inside you?" She nodded. "Please," she whispered. "Make it quick." Elias knelt beside her. "No," he said gently. "We don't make things quick. We make them right." They carried her back to the shuttle on a medical bed. He placed her in the main medical room. Soft lights filled the space. Machines began to hum, quietly. "Name?" Elias asked. She hesitated, then said, "Seraph." "Seraph," Elias repeated. "I'm Elias. I'm here to help you." He scanned her body. The screen showed something strange. There was an object inside her. Small, dark, perfectly shaped. It wasn't organic. It wasn't natural. Elias swallowed. "Captain," he said quietly, "this isn't an injury." Captain Harris leaned in. "What is it?" "I don't know," Elias said, "but it was placed there. On purpose." Sarath closed her eyes. "They did this," she said. "The Watchers." "Who are the Watchers?" Mira asked. Saras's breathing grew faster. "They come. They take. They leave things behind." Elias felt a chill move through him. The object inside her moved. Just a little. Hours passed. Sareth slept under soft medicine that eased her pain. The crew stayed close. Elias studied the scans again and again. The object was not growing, not shrinking, but it was active. "It's sending something," Mira said from the control desk. "Small signals. Very quiet. But they're going somewhere." "Where?" the captain asked. Mira's fingers moved fast. "Everywhere." Elias felt his heart beat harder. Sarath woke up slowly. She looked at Elias. "Did you take it out?" "No," he said. "Not yet." She nodded. "Then they still know where I am." "Who?" Elias asked. "The ones who put it inside me," she said. Elias leaned closer. "Why did they do this to you?" "To learn," she said. "To watch. To understand." "Understand what?" Elias asked. She turned her head and looked at him. "You?" she said. "Your kind." The room fell silent. Later, Elias stood alone in the hallway. He looked at his hands. He had helped many people in his life. Humans, aliens, friends, strangers. But this was different. This wasn't just about saving one life. Captain Harris joined him. "You're thinking too hard," he said. "I'm thinking not hard enough," Elias replied. "Whatever that thing is, it's not just hurting her, it's using her." The captain nodded slowly. "We'll protect her." Elias looked back at the medical room. "Then we may need to protect more than just her," he said. That night, the station lights dimmed. Stars filled the windows like scattered fire. Sarath slept. The machine inside her sent quiet signals into the dark. Far away, something listened. And on the light of dawn, the humans stayed awake, not because they were afraid of what might come, but because they refused to turn away from someone who needed them. The light of dawn was never truly quiet. Even in its calmest hours, soft sounds moved through the halls. Machines breathed in slow rhythms. Lights hummed behind the walls. The station felt alive in a way Elias had never fully understood until now. Tonight, it felt like something else was alive, too. Ilya stood in the medical room watching the screen beside Sareth's bed. Lines of light moved across it, showing her heartbeat, her breathing, and the strange shape inside her. The object had not changed, but Elias had. He no longer saw it as just a problem to solve. He saw it as a shadow sitting inside a living person. A silent guest that did not ask for permission. Sareth opened her eyes. She looked tired, but her pain was softer now. The medicine helped, even if it could not fix everything. "You stayed," she said quietly. Elias nodded. "I told you, I'm here to help." She studied his face. "Why?" The question surprised him. "Because you need it," he said. She frowned slightly. "My people ran. They left me behind when the Watchers came." Elias felt something tighten in his chest. "We don't run from people who are hurting," he said. "Not if we can help it." Sareth looked away. "Then your people are strange," he smiled. "We've been told that before." In the control room, Mira stared at the signal map. Small points of light moved slowly across the screen. They were not ships. They were not messages in a normal way. "They're echoes," she said to Captain Harris. "The thing inside her is not just sending a signal. It's sending parts of what it learns." "Learns what?" the captain asked. Mira tapped the screen. "Us. Our language. Our systems. Our behavior." The captain crossed his arms. "So it's watching." "Yes," she said, "and listening." Elias returned to Sareth's side with a cup of warm water. She took it with shaking hands. "Tell me about your home," he said. She hesitated, then spoke slowly. "My world is bright. 2 suns. Big seas. Floating cities." "That sounds beautiful," Elias said. "It was," she replied, "before the Watchers came." "What did they want?" Elias asked. She closed her eyes. "They never speak. They only take. They leave these things inside us. Then they go." "And then what happens?" Elias asked. Sareth's voice became softer. "Then others come. Not Watchers. Not my people. Strangers who already know how we think, how we fear, how we trust." Elias understood. "The Watchers are scouts," he said. Later, the crew gathered in the main hall. The captain stood at the center. "We need to talk about what we do next." Mira spoke first. "If that thing keeps sending data, it's only a matter of time before someone follows it." "And if we remove it?" asked one of the engineers. Elias shook his head. "It could kill her." The room fell quiet. Captain Harris looked at Sareth, who sat wrapped in a soft blanket near the wall. "She's not a tool," the captain said. "She's a person." Mira nodded. "But if an entire fleet shows up because of that thing inside her, this station won't be able to protect anyone." Elias stood. "Then we find another way." "What way?" the engineer asked. Elias took a breath. "We don't fight it. We don't cut it out. We talk to it." Silence filled the room. Mira blinked. "Talk to a machine?" Elias nodded. "It's learning from us. That means it can understand us. Or it will, eventually. Captain Harris studied him. And what would you say to it? Elias looked at Sareth. I would tell it who we are, he said. They set up a small room next to the medical bay. Soft lights. No weapons, no sharp tools, only a chair, a table, and a screen. Elias sat down. Mira connected the system to the strange object inside Sareth using gentle energy waves. The screen flickered. Lines appeared. Shapes. Sounds. The machine was listening. Elias leaned forward. My name is Elias, he said slowly. I am human. The screen changed. A sound came back. Not a word. Not a voice. But something close. Elias continued. You are inside, Sareth. She did not choose this. She is in pain. The machine paused. Sareth watched from her bed. Her hands were tight around the blanket. Elias spoke again. We help people who are in pain. That is what we do. The screen flashed softly. The sound returned, slightly different. Mira whispered, It's changing its response. Elias felt a strange feeling in his chest. Not fear, not hope. Something in between. Hours passed. Elias told the machine about Earth, about oceans, about families, about how humans argued, failed, and tried again. He told it about why people stayed with the sick, why they carried the weak, why they cried when someone they loved was lost. The machine listened. Sareth watched. At one point she asked, Do all humans do this? Elias smiled. No. But enough of us do. In deep space, far from the station, large shapes moved. They were silent. They were waiting. But the signal they received was not what they expected. It was not clean data. It was not simple maps or clear plans. It was filled with noise. Voices. Stories. Emotion. Confusion. Back on the light of dawn, the machine inside Sareth slowed its signals. Mira stared at her screen. It's not sending as much. Why? The captain asked.
Mira looked up. I don't know.
It's like it's thinking. Elias sat beside Sareth. How do you feel? She closed her eyes. Lighter, she said. It still hurts. But it's different. Different how? He asked. Like it's not just taking anymore, she said. Like it's listening to me too. That night the station felt warmer, not in temperature, in spirit. Crew members brought Sareth food. They showed her pictures of Earth, of forests and cities and animals. She laughed for the first time. The sound surprised everyone. Elias watched from the doorway. He thought about what the Watchers wanted. They wanted to understand humans so they could defeat them. But what the machine was learning now was something else. It was learning why humans stood together, why they did not leave, why they stayed in the dark with someone who was afraid. Mira called Elias to the control room. Look, she said. On the screen, the distant shapes had stopped moving closer. They're waiting, Mira said. Or, they're confused, Elias replied. The captain folded his hands behind his back. Good, Let them be confused. Sarah stood at the window later, looking at the stars. Your people are brave, she said. Elias shook his head. We're scared all the time. She smiled softly. Then you're brave anyway. The machine inside her sent one more signal, but this one was different. It was slow. It was gentle. It was filled with everything Elias had told it, and far away, the watchers received something they had never planned for. Not a warning, not a map, but a question. The stars outside the light of dawn looked calm. But inside the station, no one felt calm at all. Captain Harris stood in the control room, staring at the screen. The distant shapes in space were still there. Large. Silent.
Waiting.
They haven't moved in hours, Mira said. That doesn't mean they won't, the captain replied. Elias stood near the door. He had not slept. His eyes were tired, but his mind was sharp. He kept thinking about the machine inside Seraph, about how it listened, about how it changed. What if they're not waiting for us? Elias said. What if they're waiting for it? Mira turned toward him. You mean the probe? Elias nodded. It's their eyes, their ears, but now it's also something else. Seraph sat in the medical room looking at her hands. The pain in her side was still there, but it was softer, like a quiet ache instead of a sharp fire. She could feel the machine inside her. As a presence. When Elias entered, she looked up. It's thinking again, she said. Elias walked closer. How do you know? She touched her side gently. It feels slow, like it's choosing its steps. Elias sat beside her. That's what we do too, he said, when something matters. Seraph tilted her head. Does this matter to you? Yes, Elias said without hesitation. You matter. Her eyes softened. In the small communication room, the screen flickered again. The machine wanted to speak. Mira and Elias stood in front of it. Captain Harris watched from the doorway. The screen showed simple shapes now. Circles, lines, small symbols that looked like early writing. It's building a language, Mira whispered. Elias leaned forward. We can help. He pointed at himself. Elias, the machine drew a symbol. He pointed at Seraph. Seraph. He pointed at the station. Home. The machine paused. Then it drew something new. A circle around all the symbols. Mira's breath caught. It's grouping them. Us, Elias said softly. Hours passed like slow waves. The machine learned more words. More ideas. Not just names. Feelings. Seraph spoke through the connection sometimes. I am afraid, she said. The machine made a new symbol. I trust him, she said, pointing at Elias. I do not want to be alone. The screen glowed brighter. In deep space, the watchers received another signal. This one was strange. It was not data. It was not plans. It was filled with something their systems could not measure. Connection. Their ships moved slightly closer. Then stopped again. Mira rushed into the medical room. They're shifting, she said. Small movements. Testing distance. Captain Harris followed. We need to prepare for the worst. Elias stood up. Or the best. The captain looked at him. Hope doesn't stop ships, Elias. No, Elias said, but people do. And so do choices. He looked at Surith. And so do machines that learn to choose. I want to talk to it, she said. Everyone froze. You already have, Elias said gently. She shook her head. Not like you do. It hears my pain. But it needs to hear my will. They helped her into the communication room. She sat in the chair, breathing slowly. The screen lit up. Sareth spoke. They put you inside me, she said. You hurt me, but you also stayed with me. You listened. The machine drew a symbol, Sareth continued. You were made to watch, to report, to open the way. Another symbol appeared. Sharp. Cold. But you learned something else, she said. You learned about staying, about helping, about not leaving. The machine paused longer than ever before. Sareth's voice grew stronger. You can still choose. The screen flickered. A new symbol formed. Not like the others. It was open. Wide. Mira whispered, What does that mean? Elias smiled softly. I think it means maybe. The captain received a warning on his console. Energy shift, he said. From the distant ships. Everyone tensed. Sareth looked at Elias. Are they coming? Maybe, Elias said. But so is something else. He turned to the screen. It's your turn now? The machine's symbols began to change faster. They formed a message. Simple. Clear. Not to the station. But outward. Into the dark. Far away, the watchers received the signal. It was not what they expected. It was not about human defenses. It was not about weaknesses. It was about hands reaching out, about voices staying in the dark, about pain being shared instead of used. Their systems struggled to understand. Their ships slowed, then stopped. On the light of dawn, the distant shapes on the screen began to move away. Mira's eyes widened. They're pulling back. Captain Harris let out a slow breath. I don't believe it. Elias closed his eyes for a moment. Sareth smiled weakly. It chose. Later, the station was quiet again. Not the tense quiet, the peaceful kind. Crew members sat in the main hall, talking softly. Some laughed. Some just sat and watched the stars. Elias stood by the window with Sareth. Your people didn't leave you, he said. She shook her head. No, yours didn't. He smiled. We're stubborn like that. Mira joined them. The machine's signals are different now, she said. They're not one way anymore. What do you mean? Elias asked. It's not just sending, she said. It's receiving. From far away. From other probes. Other worlds. Sareth's eyes widened. It's talking to them? Mira nodded. Teaching them, maybe. Elias looked back at the stars. Then this isn't just about us anymore, he said. The machine inside Sareth pulsed gently. Not like a tool. Like a heart. That night, Elias recorded a message in the station's log. Humans did not win today, he said. We did not fight. We did not threaten. We did not hide. We Stayed. He looked at Seraph through the glass. And sometimes, staying is enough to change the universe. The stars outside seemed brighter, not because they had changed, but because the people looking at them had. The light of dawn floated in a sea of stars that looked calmer than ever before. The distant ships were gone. Not hidden, not waiting, gone. Captain Harris stood in the control room, arms crossed, watching the empty space on the screen. "I've been out here a long time," he said softly. "I've never seen something like this." Mira leaned back in her chair. "Me neither. They didn't retreat because we were strong. They retreated because they were unsure," Elias said. "Sometimes that's stronger," the captain replied. Sareth walked slowly through the main hall. Her steps were careful, but steady. The pain in her side was still there, but it no longer ruled her body. The machine inside her felt quiet now. Not silent, just calm. Crew members smiled as she passed. One offered her a cup of warm drink. Another showed her a small plant growing in a clear box near the wall. "This is from Earth," the engineer said. "It grows even when things are hard." Seraph touched the glass. "It's like you," the engineer laughed. "Yeah, we're hard to get rid of." In the medical room, Elias studied the screen again. The machine inside Seraph had changed. Its shape was the same, but the energy around it was different. Aye. Softer. Slower. Like a deep breath instead of a sharp signal. Mira stood beside him. "It's not sending invasion data anymore." "What is it sending?" Elias asked. Mira tapped the screen. "Stories, moments, feelings?" Elias smiled. "Good." Sereth sat down across from him. "Is it still dangerous?" she asked. Elias shook his head. "I don't think so. Not in the way it was before." "Can you take it out now?" she asked. "Maybe, but I don't think it wants to leave." Sereth frowned. "It's inside me." "Yes," Elias said, "but it's also with you." She thought about that. "It learned from you," she said. "From all of you. And you taught it too," Elias replied. Captain Harris called for a meeting. The crew gathered in the main hall. "The Watchers have not returned," he said. "Long-range scans show their fleet moving away from this region of space." A soft sound of relief moved through the room. "But this doesn't mean the universe is suddenly safe," the captain continued. "It means something changed." "And we were part of that change." Mira stepped forward. "The machine inside Sereth is sending messages to other probes. Not commands, not plans." "What then?" asked the engineer. "Examples," Mira said, "of what it found here." Elias added, "It's showing them what humans do when they meet someone in pain." Sereth stood. "My people were watched," she said. "Studied. Used." The room stayed quiet as she spoke. "But here," she continued, "I was seen, heard, held." She placed a hand over her side. "The thing inside me was made to open doors for others to come and take." Her voice grew stronger. "Now it opens doors for others to understand." That night, the crew gathered near the large window. Stars filled the dark like scattered lights in a deep ocean. Sereth stood between Elias and Mira. "Will you take me home?" she asked. Captain Harris nodded. "If you want us to." "I do," she said, "but not just to go back." "Then why?" Elias asked. She smiled. To go forward. My people need to know what you showed me. The journey took days. The station moved slowly through space, following star paths and quiet signals. Along the way, the machine inside Sereth sent gentle messages to other probes they passed. Some responded. Some stayed silent, but none sent warnings. None called fleets. When they reached Sereth's world, the sky was bright with two suns. Floating cities drifted above wide blue seas. Small ships gathered around the light of dawn, cautious but curious. Sereth stood at the front of the docking bay. Her people waited on the other side. Elias stood behind her. You don't have to do this alone. She turned. I won't. The doors opened. Her people rushed forward. They touched her face, her hands, her shoulders. They spoke in soft, fast words filled with relief. Sereth raised her hands for quiet. She told them everything. About the Watchers. About the machine. About the humans who stayed. Her people listened. Some cried. Some looked toward Elias and the crew with new eyes. Later, in a large open hall, leaders from Sereth's world met with Captain Harris. The Watchers feared you, one of them said. Good, the captain replied. So do most of our friends at first. Elias smiled. That evening, Elias and Sereth walked near the edge of one of the floating platforms. The sea below reflected the stars above. Will you stay? Sereth asked. Elias shook his head. We can't. There are other signals. Other people who might need us. She nodded. I thought you'd say that. She placed a small, glowing stone in his hand. For your home. He looked at it. Thank you. The machine inside Sereth pulsed once. A soft light moved across her skin. She did not flinch. She smiled. It's still learning, she said. Good, Elias replied. So are we. The light of dawn lifted into the sky. Sereth watched it become a small light among many stars. Her people stood with her. For the first time, they did not feel like they were being watched from the dark. They felt like they were being seen. Far away, in places humans had never been, other probes received the new message. Not of power, not of fear, but of hands reaching out, of voices staying close, of lights that did not go out when the dark grew deep. On the light of dawn, Elias recorded one final log. We did not conquer today, he said. We did not claim new worlds. We left something behind. He looked at the glowing stone in his hand. We left a reason for others to stay kind. The station moved on. The stars opened before it. And somewhere in the great quiet universe, a new story began. Not about who was strongest, but about who stayed.